Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are ready for this one because honestly, I don't think I am. We're going to start our coverage on the green cards in set 15, and we're going to start by talking about Vegeta. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And if you guys want to help support the channel, many ways to do so down in the description. But if you want to buy or pre-order any of the cards you see in today's video, which honestly I would not, but if you want any other trading card games at all, use my link in the description, TCG Player. It really does help the channel out. Anyways, we'll get started with this. So we have the Vegeta Leader. So we'll read it first and I'll give my thoughts on it. I have quite a few thoughts on it. So auto once per turn. If it's your opponent's turn, one of your battle cards is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill. Your opponent chooses one card in their hand and discards it. Okay, this auto is the biggest mess I've ever read, and here's why. So firstly, it requires your opponent to do something that they don't have to do ever, theoretically. Like, yes, it's good to remove battle cards by skills, but at no point is that ever a requirement to play the game unless you're playing a very specific type of deck. So this is totally something that can be played around, and it's not even like if they're KO'd, period. Like, it's not even like if you block. Like, your opponent specifically has to remove your battle card by a skill, and there are a lot of effects in the current format. Like, pretty much every color right now has removal, but you could just not remove things. And it's kind of a spoiler, but it's not like anything in this deck is so threatening that it like needs to be removed immediately. So big problem. And then your opponent pitching a card is even worse because this leader does not really draw. And yes, there have been plenty of leaders in the past that don't draw and they've still been good, but those leaders had supplementary draw engines. I think about Black Toa and I think about Red King Piccolo. They had other ways to draw cards, keep their hand sizes up. This leader does not offer that. But anyways, activate battle once per turn. If your life is less than or equal to your opponent's, this card gets plus 5,000 power for the battle. Sure. Awaken your life steal less, or your opponent's leader card's back is facing up. You may draw 2 cards, choose one of your opponent's using cards, remove a marker from it. Not a bad effect, I must admit. Then flip this card over. So I do kind of like how you can awaken when your opponent's awakened, so you can't necessarily get your tempo stifled, at least as far as your awaken goes, but man, are you gonna have no hand. And a lot of the cards in the main deck just don't help with that. But anyways, Vegeta Destined Confrontation. When this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's using cards, remove a marker from it. Again, decent. I do kind of like the Unison control. Additionally, if your opponent doesn't have a Unison in play, choose one green grade A card in your battle area, switch to active mode, and negate its skills for the turn. Super mess. You know, resetting a battle card that's losing its effects. I mean, I guess it could block during the next turn because most apes have blocker, but still very meh. Auto once per turn. If it's your opponent's turn and one of your battle cards is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, draw one card and your opponent chooses a card in their hand and discards it. So they do again get punished for removing your battle cards, but I really don't think it's going to be too threatening if they don't remove your battle cards, for instance. But anyways, let's get into some more stuff. We have the Unison for the deck. So here's the SPR art and the SR art. Man, this Unison's absolutely incredible. One thing they missed a mark on, I'll mention in a second, but this SR art, man, yikes. This looks like it was drawn by a really bad One Piece artist, like a fan One Piece artist. That's really weird. But anyways, we'll give it a read. It's a really good Unison. Counter attack, Spirit Boost 1, play this card with 3 markers on it. Permanent during your opponent's turn. If a gray ape is in your battle area, reduce energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 green. So I wish they just like got rid of all that text and just put deflect on this card. This would have been a really good card to give green, and like let's just say they kept Zamasu the Eliminator as it was. I don't really care if they errated it, that's fine, but let's just say they wanted to keep, you know, interactions with Unisons as a thing. This would have been the perfect Unison to give deflect. Like, just get rid of all this stupid counterattack stuff and just put deflect on it. That would have been cool. But anyways, the activate main is incredible. Activate main, choose up to 1 card in your opponent's hand or one of their battle cards ignoring barrier and place it in the owner's drop area. That is insanely good. Activate main minus X for each marker removed from the skill. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. Another really solid skill. Like, if your opponent has like 4 battle cards on the board without barrier and you've just built up a ton of markers on this thing because it's going to be relatively tough to kill, you can just, you know, -3, -4, remove them. That is a pretty good Unison. Really good Unison. Alright, so now we have the main engine for the Vegeta deck. So we'll start with Vegeta's Powerball. Field card permanent. If your leader's a green sand card, you can activate this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. So you do get to free play it. That's kind of a cool thing to read at first glance. Let's read the rest of it. So auto once per turn for any color. When one of your non-Great Ape sand cards is KO'd by an attack, you may choose a Great Ape card that includes the color and character name of the KO'd card and an energy cost of 4 in your deck. Play it in rest mode, then shuffle your deck. So basically, you block with a guy, you play an ape of the same name with the same color with a cost of 4. Auto, at the end of your turn, choose one grade ape card in your battle area and switch it to active mode. So, okay, you play this card from hand for free, but you're not drawing cards with your leader already, so that is a true -1 from hand. Like, yes, this card does something, and normally I don't consider like playing cards to the battle area, usually battle cards, I don't consider that to be a true -1, but this is an extra card that you have to play, which you naturally can't combo with in a deck that already doesn't draw cards, and it doesn't do anything until you have the other pieces at the ready. So I do consider this a true -1 in a deck that doesn't already draw. That's really rough. Vegeta Elite Resolve. So we have an SR for the deck, 1-drop unique, permanent. If a player has a field card in their battle area, this card gains blocker. Auto, when you play this card from hand, choose one. You can either look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 green sand with energy cost of 3 or less among them, or choose one Vegeta Powerball in your deck, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. So you can basically play 8 copies of Powerball, and if you play Elite Resolve, you have your blocker play set up already. Okay. Vegeta Preparing to Invade, 2-drop 5k unique blocker. If a green field extra card is in play in your battle area, you can play this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. So another free play card in a deck that doesn't draw. So you're going to play Vegeta Powerball, you're going to play Preparing to Invade, that's -2 from hand. You might have like literally 2 cards in your hand, and you're going to block and play an ape from your deck. Let's see what the ape does. Let's see if it warrants all of this, right? So we'll start with the ape from the set. Great Ape Vegeta Embodied Might, 4-drop 20k blocker. Auto, limit 1 for a green, and one of your green non-Great Ape Vegeta cards with blocker is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill. You may play this card from your hand. So you have a little bit of like I guess leeway. Like if your opponent removes your blocker before you get to block with it, if you have this card in your hand, you can play it down. Sure. Auto, once per turn this card attacks, your opponent chooses a card in their hand and discards it. Kind of like the Zamasu Deity's Wrath effect, but you know, just way worse with all the less protection this card has. Activate main, 2 greens. If a player has a field extra card in their battle area, play this card from your hand. So you have ways to cheat this card out, but man, this card is not worth me going down to 2 cards in hand, blocking, and then just playing this from the deck. Like, oh man, this is so rough. But anyways, same technique, Great Ape Vegeta, 4-drop 20k. This is an older tournament pack promo that is technically playable via Powerball, as long as I'm reading it correctly. So auto, if you have a red-green multicolor card in your energy, and there are plenty of reasons to play red-green in this deck, there is some red-green support for this deck as well, and your opponent has 4 or more non-token battle cards in play. When you play this card or combo with it from your hand, choose all your opponent's battle cards with 15,000 power or less and KO them. So an option that you have if you want to go for some type of board wipe. Then we have a little bit of a Raditz Engine, requesting reinforcements, 1-drop 4k blocker. Choose one card in your hand, discard it. When this card's KO'd by an opponent's attack, choose one red or green Vegeta or Nappa card with energy cost of 1 from your deck, send it to your warp, shuffle your deck, then play that card from your warp at the end of the turn. This card, I really hate to be ripping into this archetype that bad, because I do feel bad about this, but honestly, this card's a joke. Like, play this, doesn't do anything when you play it, and then you block, and then you pitch a card in a deck that already doesn't have cards in hand, and then you're going to be playing a Vegeta or Nappa a turn delayed. Like, man, this archetype, I don't even want to call it overly balanced, because I just feel like this is just designed by a different design company. I just don't understand it in the slightest. But anyways, Great Ape Raditz Might Unleashed. You can play this ape if this Raditz dies and you have Powerball on the field. We did read this in another video, but I'll give it a quick read again. So limit 1 for a red or a green, and one of your red or green non-Great Ape Raditz cards with blocker is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill. You may play this card from your hand. Auto, when this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than the number of cards in their hand and KO it. So some decent removal. And then activate main for a green and a red. If a field extra card is in the battle area, play this card from your hand. So very similar to the Vegeta ape we read. This card is just okay, but okay cards are, one, not going to make my opponent remove my battle cards by skills specifically, because keep in mind, it's just a 19k blocker. Like, anything 20k or higher, just, you know, if they block with this, they have to combo to save it, and they're not gonna have cards to combo with to save it. I can promise you that. So we're gonna get into a few more cards for the archetype, but real quick, we do have a word from today's video's sponsor. Dragon Ballers, real quick before we get into today's video, I just want to share something with you guys that I am very excited about. PPG is going to be hosting the Pro Support TCG Weekend in Dallas, Texas, the weekend of November 6th. It's going to be a giant TCG convention weekend hosting all your favorite games, obviously Dragon Ball Super, Digimon, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and more. Tournaments for all of those. I'm actually going to be there commentating the Dragon Ball Super side of things, the main event on Saturday, the side events on Sunday. I absolutely cannot wait. And if you guys missed out on Gen Con or heard me talk about how much fun that was, you're 110% gonna want to be at the Pro Support TCG Weekend. The other great thing too is it's just 2 weeks before Nationals, the biggest Dragon Ball Super tournament of the year, so you get some invaluable practice there. But besides that, it's a convention. It's going to be so much fun, especially for those of you guys like me that just absolutely love trading card games. Definitely check it out. The link to sign up will be in the description. I really hope to see you guys there. Now let's get into the video. All right, guys, I really do hope to see you at the Pro Support TCG Weekend. But anyways, a few Nappa cards here. So Nappa on guard, and I did do a search of all the Great Apes in the game, and there was no Nappa Great Ape of cost 4. So you can't really play anything with Powerball when this guy blocks. But anyways, switch card to rest mode. When your opponent uses a skill to play a battle card with energy cost greater than their current energy, they choose one card in their hand or one of their battle cards and place it in the owner's drop area. So there's a slew of these cards. I don't know if they're all called on guard, but there's a slew of these cards that basically are blockers, switch themselves to rest mode, and do a thing when your opponent plays a battle card greater than their energy cost. Not a bad set of cards. I can see them being relatively okay. Nappa the Intimidator. We have a 2-drop critical 15k auto. If you leaders a Vegeta or Nappa card, when this card's played from your hand, your opponent chooses a card in their hand and discards it. Very plain Jane hand control card. I don't think I'm spending 2 energy on this one. I can spend 2 energy on Rebrand, to be honest. And then finally, we have a Gohan line of cards, which is pretty weird because obviously Gohan is Goku's son, but Gohan seems to actually mesh more precisely with the Vegeta stuff than it actually does with the Goku stuff. So Gohan Confronting Invasion, 1-drop 4k blocker. If your leader card's green sand card and this card KO'd by an opponent's attack, choose one of your opponent's Unison cards, remove a marker from it, and add 1 card from your life to your hand. So you can, I guess, still get some self-awakening if you block, because you need to block to activate the effect of Powerball. And then we have Gohan Rageful Flurry, 2-drop 10k unique blocker. One of your green battle cards is KO'd by an opponent's skill. You may play this card from your hand. If you do, this card gets plus 10,000 power for the turn. So a 20k blocker that can maybe be played on your turn if your opponent removes a battle card during your turn. And if I remember the leader correctly, your opponent doesn't actually get punished for removing battle cards during your turn, just during their own turn. So that's an even bigger downside to the leader. Gohan Simian Revenge, 4-drop 19k blocker revenge, auto limit 1. One of your green non-Great Ape Son Gohan youth cards with blocker is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill. You may play this card from your hand. Okay, so that's gonna wrap up all the cards we have for this like Vegeta Great Ape archetype. And man, I think it's pretty obvious that I am very disappointed with this archetype. I really thought to myself, like, how many sets in a row can Bandai print like really bad or lackluster green archetypes? I really thought that set 15 was going to turn things around for green, just considering how long it's been since green has had a really good run. Like, they've had a handful of good decks, don't get me wrong. Like, Gotenks had its time in the limelight. Cell Surge doing fine right now, but Cell Surge doing fine right now doesn't really have anything to do with like the Unison Warrior block necessarily, or like a theme in the Unison Warrior block, if that makes sense. So pretty disappointing. This archetype, man, just seems unfinished. Like, there's no boss monster for the deck. There doesn't seem to be a win condition for the deck. Like, if your opponent is removing your battle cards and depleting their own hand, you're playing against a bot. I really just don't know what else to say. This is really weird. I feel like I did rip into the set really hard with this video, and I do feel bad about it, but it's just honestly my thoughts, and I feel like it just had to be said. So I do want to know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.